Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're talking about the live room versus the replay room and what's the difference. Because for some people, the live room, basically doing a live webinar, is more effective versus some people doing the replay room, evergreen, is a lot more effective. Now we're going to talk about both. But you can essentially use this process to use both the live room and or the replay room to your advantage. Because this is an evergreen process. Funny enough, when you do a live webinar, that replay can almost act as a live webinar because people don't know the difference if you're not talking about that the webinar is live on a Tuesday. If you just say we're live and you're engaging with the audience and you're funneling it through your webinar platform, you can make the presentation look live. So whether or not it's truly live or it's a replay, this process is efficient for both. So how do you make this evergreen? Well, this whole process can be evergreen through content. You can do a blog post that's pre-selling the webinar content or promoting a similar topic and then funneling people towards the webinar. Same thing when it comes to a call to action linking to your webinar registration from a separate registration page. Here's what I mean by that. You could be doing a lead magnet, you could be doing that blog post, you could even just have a resource page on your site somewhere. But that CTA, that call to action box that pops up or is on that page, could link to your webinar and collect that lead and get people into the funnel sequence as quickly as possible. And you can send them straight to the replay or the quote unquote live room if you want to, because that presentation is already done. Let's not forget all those people that registered or did not register for your webinar in the past can be funneled back into this sequence and they can go see the webinar for the first time or once again. This works a lot more efficiently if it's someone who didn't register, so they were just a visitor or an engager or a viewer, and you send them to a different registration page than what they've already seen. That way it seems like a completely unique presentation and they're not seeing the same ad or the same webinar page that they saw before, thus they don't just negate it and move on. Now what happens if you're doing an auto webinar? Well, once again, it's just like promoting a live webinar, except it's automatically funneling through any time of the day, whether it's just in time, every hour, every half an hour, every couple hours, right? So you can rotate the registration pages. This is what a lot of people do. They rotate at least two pages. It could be a long form page and a short form page, just so they could see which one performs better. They'll at least exclude the registrants from past webinars so that they're not seeing the same ad and or page over and over, especially if they've already purchased. Definitely exclude. If these are people who are already in your funnel sequence, in your webinar sequence, don't keep showing them ads. No reason to. Just exclude them. And you can rotate these ads every couple of weeks if they're effective. Some people are doing them every week. Some people are rotating every 2 weeks. I've seen ads go as long as 4 weeks before you have to rotate them out if they're doing effectively well. So if you want to keep things fresh, I would say at least every week you put out a new batch. I've seen people go as long as 3 to 4 weeks before they do that. And if you really want to take this to the next page, or to the next level, I should say, you can even create a reminder page similar to what you see on your screen for when you are doing some sort of webinar, right? So let's say you're doing like live. So you might say it's a live webinar, but you're feeding it through your webinar platform in order to, well, essentially show the webinar you've done in the past. You would create a reminder page sending people back to this page saying, hey, don't forget that webinar's tomorrow. That webinar's in 2 days. I'll see you there. And all the information is on the page. If they've already registered, they have this in their inbox. This just takes it to the next level because now they have the chance to see this workshop starts in X days, X time, so on and so forth. Is this very similar to the reminder ads I've talked about in the past? Yes, but this is a dedicated page to that. And the great part is that anyone that lands here, you can create a custom audience of people who like to receive reminders about stuff that's going on in your business. And every time you have a new webinar, every time you have a new promotion, you could retarget those people with the same reminder ad. So remember, whether it's a live room or a replay room, you're still creating content that's going to bring them back. And if you want to make it evergreen where they come back into that sequence, you can use blog posts, you can use case studies, testimonials, so on and so forth, which we will talk about, so that it keeps the circle moving of how many people are coming back into that rotation, seeing your webinar, seeing the replay, and then thus possibly buying. And in the next video, we talk about how you can use these registrants, these people who've made it into your sequence, and get them to buy using VSLs and replay page hybrids.